Welcome everyone back to another edition of the Association, a weekly podcast put on by yours truly, and of course the guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, former six-time NBA. I'm gonna just say all-star, man, because you was an all-star in my life, man.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
In my
We have to
mind,
keep our credibility.
no,
We have to keep our credibility.
Okay, you, okay, a former six-time NBA guard, current senior counselor for the National Basketball Players Association. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the one, he's the only one of three, soon to be four, but only one of three former NBA players to hold a doctorate degree. He is the one, the only, he is the phenomenal one. He's Dr. Lloyd Walton on the association. Man, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Obviously much better than you, unfortunately.
see, you didn't even have to tell them that, because they don't know what you're talking about, man.
But you need their prayers and what have you. Don't happen, man.
See, you're gonna put me out there already, just like that, huh? Yeah. For those of you tuning in, for those of you who are tuning in to the weekly podcast, the Association, yours truly, I got the crutches going, and for you youngsters out there, try to stay as young as you can for as long as you can. The old man gout got me, and I've been I just pulled the crutches out today, as a matter of fact, to hobble along, because the medication that I picked up for the gout has not kicked in yet, and so it's a little bit sensitive and tender to walk on my right foot. So that's why I'm, as Dr. Lloyd Walton did, put me out there on blast. That's why I got the crutches, and I'm sitting down. But I'll be back to new normal in a blink of an eye. And because it's the first time it flared up in more than a year, almost 2 years. So I'm all good. But thank you so very much, good doctor, and thank to all of you out there who have concerns as far as my health moving forward, brothers. So how you doing though?
Man, I have no complaints. I'm good. I'm really, really good. Didn't get a chance to get my run completed today, but because the police came around and put there was only three people on the track, and they put us off the track. So
is that right?
I'm not really sure. Like, okay, I thought you could go out to exercise and things like that, to the grocery store, exercise, to the doctor. There was no gathering. Okay. Again, there wasn't even anywhere near. It was only three people there, and we were all at different parts of the track. Everybody just had their little jog going. Now there were three kids in the middle of the field playing catch with a football.
Okay.
So when I first saw the police and their lights, and they said something, I had my earphones in, so I wasn't listening. I thought they were telling them to break it up.
Right.
But by the time I got around to them, then they says, "Hey, you got to leave." It's like the what did she say? She said, "The lakefront is closed." And I was thinking to myself, but I'm not on the lakefront. What are you talking about? But I didn't feel like that's this debate and stuff like that. So I got my stuff and I left. But I'm really disappointed. I was looking forward to this good run today, but I'm all good, man. No complaints at all.
No, that's good. And to their credit, they're doing the best they can by protecting the citizens in the city, and of course the surrounding suburbs. And our good governor, J.B. Pritzker, just extended the stay at home to the end of May 30th. So all of us will be pretty much
quarantine.
Exactly. So it's for a good reason. It's for a good purpose. And it may be a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unsettling for us, but the important thing is for us to stay healthy and flatten the curve as much as we can as far as this pandemic is concerned, and move forward, my good friend. So let's jump right into it.
Let me just say, but the irony is that I was asked by the city to do a PSA on the coronavirus and stay at home yesterday, and I did it, right? And now I'm getting put off the damn track. So it's really crazy, right? Hey, man, you can't even write this kind of script, man. You ask to do a damn PSA, you do the PSA, and then you go out and break the damn policy, and you go out and get put off the damn track, man.
So are we going to see this PSA?
I turned it over to them. They wanted you to shoot it from your home, so I shot it from the man cave. Right, it's about 30 seconds, just asking people to stay at home and all that kind of stuff. Turn it over to them. I'm expecting them to show it at some point in time. When that is, I don't know at this point. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it on all the other platforms that I have. So a lot of people saw it on Facebook. I'll tell you that. I think
Good.
over 350, 400 people saw it.
That's awesome. I
So
haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to definitely seeing it, and we'll definitely air it as well. But that's awesome, man. Is it now this the city of Chicago, the surrounding suburbs, Chicagoland
city of,
area?
city of Chicago.
Oh man, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Did the great mayor Lori Lightfoot reach out to you?
Well, her people reached out to my people. How about that?
I love it. I love it. That's the way it works, man. Well, yeah, it is kind of ironic that you do the PSA to tell everyone to stay in, and then the cops come and tell you get your butt in the house.
Right, exactly.
Well, God bless you, brother. I'm looking
Oh,
forward to it, and I'm glad that you can make a positive effect as far as the citizens of Chicago are concerned. Well, hey, the first week, the first
okay.
2 hours of The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, the docu-series regarding the 97-98 Chicago Bulls, man, and I'm just eager to hear what your thoughts and reaction to the first 2 hours of a 20-hour docu-series. Share with
Well,
us.
you shouldn't be too anxious to hear what I have to say.
Are you kidding me?
Well, for me personally, because as you know, I worked for Mike. I was close to the NBA, that NBA team during that era. Not intimately close, but close enough.
Right.
So there was nothing that was said or revealed in the first 2 hours that I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And but I will say this: the teaser for this coming weekend, I didn't know if it was true or not about Rodman wanting a vacation and going to Vegas. Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
I am excited to hear exactly how that unfolded to the point that he got a chance to go. Did he come back on time? All that kind of stuff. But
Right.
the first two, I knew most of that stuff. I guess the biggest comeback or discussion has been around Scottie Pippen and his contract situation back then, which I think has no validity to it, just in the sense that he signed a contract that even the owner says is a bad contract.
Right.
He
Right.
signed
Right.
it because he wanted security, and he should do that, but you got to live it out. The greatest player, in my opinion, that ever played at some point in time was like the third or fourth highest paid player on the Bulls. That was ridiculous. He didn't go to them begging for them to redo his contract. They didn't come to him to redo his contract. He had to play it out. Now they took care of him at the end where he made 30 for his last 2 years each year, but he didn't make a big stink about it. He said, I'm a man of my word. I signed this deal and I have to live it out. Scotty, he didn't want to live it out. He became a little bit of a nuisance, if you will, having the surgery at the start of the season as opposed to the end of the season. Michael said in his words that he was selfish. I kind of think so. I think you have to handle it in a professional way. And that was far from being professional. Here's the thing. And the reason why I say that, because when you come together as a team, this is a team. This is a group of guys that you're going to spend the next 6-7 months with, right? And so you're going to support each other in any way, in every way, shape, form, or fashion, personally and professionally. So we're here to win a championship. We need you. You are an integral part of this, right? We need you. And for you to say, well, hey, I wanted to enjoy my summer. And we know in the back of his mind, the underlying statement or grievance that he had was, you didn't renegotiate my contract. I'm being underpaid. Nobody's arguing that point, but you signed it.
Right.
You wanted security, right? You got the security. Shut up and play ball. I mean, it's after the fact, it's 2020, but that's just how I feel about it. And I know he was underpaid, grossly underpaid. But the fact of the matter is, in my opinion, your agent is supposed to know what's on the horizon in terms of new money coming in and the salaries going up. He didn't, because if he did, he would have told you. No, like Reinsdorf told him, he would have said, no, all right, let's do a 2-year deal. I know we're at a risk. You got to bet on yourself because we're going to, the salary is going to go up exponentially when we get through these next 2 years.
Right.
Salary cap. And he didn't. So Scotty signed it. And then he made a big fuss out of it. Now, I'm not going to defend Jerry Krause. I'm just talking about the organization and the structure and the people around him. Michael did it. He should have done it, period. Okay? In the story, don't let your team down. They're depending on you. He didn't. And that speaks to what we're going to see. Maybe this next weekend. where he set out that point 8 seconds when, because Phil didn't draw up a play for him.
Right. Right. There's a lot there. I remember because I was working for the Score Sports Radio back then, and when it was all unfolding as far as Scotty and his contract, I mean, we even said, and callers who were calling into the station even said that it was a bad deal for Scotty to take, was it 7 years, maybe 8 years, 7-year deal or whatever with the amount of money that was being paid. It was just a bad deal. And I think it was more to the fact that Scotty was frustrated. He wanted to get paid, and I think he was blind by his dislike for Jerry Krause, and he felt in his mind that he was going to stick it to him, I guess. And it's unfortunate, like you said, that his agent then pull him back and say, "Hey, man, wait a minute. You probably want to reevaluate this a little bit before you sign on the dotted line." And it's interesting. It brings back to me. You probably remember this when Magic came into the league. After. Winning the college championship in '79, and I think I can't remember if it was the second, third year, but remember he signed, and we thought at the time it was phenomenal. He signed a $20 million contract at $1 million per for the next 20 years, and no one had really made that type of money. So the headlines and everything was like, "Wow, Magic Johnson, $20 million man." But then, like you said, when you look over a 20-year span at $1 million per, that wasn't a smart move. And his agent came in and they restructured everything. It seemed like that was the same situation with Scotty, that he wanted some security, and he felt, hey, I deserve this. I'm underpaid. I'm going to get whatever I can. Unfortunately, the market value changes year in and year out. Yeah.
Well, it changes. Here's the deal. It changes whatever the length of your collective bargaining agreement is. Could be 4 years, could be 5 years. Now, within that 4 or 5 years, there may be players who play the same position and are very important to their organization. So they're going to be paid more than you were paid, right? That's just how it works. The salary cap is always going to go up. So that's what it was evolving to during that period of time. When Magic signed his, Dr. Buss didn't have to do it. But he felt the value of Magic was being underpaid, and so he went and renegotiated his deal and gave him a lot more money. Right. Well, Jerry Reinsdorf didn't feel that way, and that's his prerogative. It's his team. He has a signed contract on the dotted line on his desk from Scottie Pippen. There's really nothing you have to gripe about, honestly. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, this is what you call being a professional, period. Right. And to my point, his counterpoint never did it. And the fact of the matter, when you look at their career, Scotty made $109 million for basketball. Michael Jordan only made $93 million for basketball for his career.
Right.
Okay. So at some point in time, you're going to catch up or surpass what you think. But whatever you sign, man, you should be able to live up to it. You see this a lot more in my opinion, in football than you see it in basketball, where guys say, I'm underpaid. Well, it was just 3 years ago, you're the highest paid, whatever. And now, because the salary cap has gone up, now some other player now supersedes your salary. Now you want to gripe. I mean, you can't keep doing this, man. You sign a contract, live up to it. Because here's the other point. If you don't meet some expectations that the team has for you, do you give any money back?
Right. Nope.
Okay.
Right.
Man, shut up, play the game, man. Have some fun, and then hopefully you last long enough to make another contract and get paid more money. That's it to me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you bring up football because the new collective bargaining agreement that they just signed, in my opinion, the owners made out like bandits, and some of the superstars were trying to tell the other players in the league, this is a bad deal. It may look good today in 2020, but in 2022, 23, 25, because this is a 10-year deal, I believe it is. Those numbers aren't going to look the same. But players, like you said, they wanted to get paid early. They wanted the extension on the season, be able to smoke their weed, and it looked good today, but in a couple of years they're gonna be looking at themselves, kicking themselves. But let me ask you, back to The Last Dance, man. What I was surprised about, and I'm telling you, that may be minuscule compared to what we see at the end of this thing. But I was really surprised that the first hour, to start this thing off that they went right after Jerry Krause. I thought maybe it'd be, the 6th hour or the 7th hour or maybe the 10th hour of the 20-hour docu-series. I was surprised that they let off and just went right at Jerry Krause. Were you?
Well, not at all, because here's the deal. Who is the guy who was the architect of putting this damn roster together for 6 championships? Jerry Krause. Who was the architect of destroying them? Well, demolition, if you will, right? To destroy it, for tearing it up. Jerry Krause. So the maker and the breaker, they immediately put on the front lines and start firing shots at him, and well deserved. I mean, I told you I knew Jerry personally. Obviously, you could give him nothing but kudos and affirm his greatness and eye for the game and a roster, because he won 3 championships. He won 6, right? But how he went about it, how he rubbed people the wrong way, how some people say he was less than honest with them. Right. It's unfortunate, but it's facts. You got to salute him for his greatness, and then for those behind the scene things that happen that turn people off, he's got to take the credit for that too, or the blame. I'll say the blame for that as well. You can't have it both ways, So you got to say. Now, the only thing I feel bad about is that when you have this kind of thing and a person is not alive to be able to share their perspective, that's the only real thing that's missing. Because I'd like to hear what he had to say, how he felt about it, because it's going to be obviously different than what everybody else felt. But that's unfortunate. That's the way it is.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised, because he's not here to defend himself and defend his position. And I thought, and I've never done a documentary before, and I've seen many of them, but I just felt that, and some people said he's the villain, so to speak. And from my perspective, the villain appears in the 3rd scene or the 4th scene, right? Not the very first scene. And I was like, wow, but I guess they just wanted to get right to it, get it out of the way, whet people's appetite, and say, hey, the next 4 weeks after this one, man, we're going to show you a lot. So I was just surprised about that, because the man's not here to defend himself. But like he was, it's just an unfortunate situation. And I'm one of few individuals who don't give him as much credit as others do regarding building this dynasty team, because I truly believe, just from watching Michael Jordan in his early years, that if you assembled enough hardworking, talented ball players around him, and that's what they did, that the championship still would have come. You go from John Paxson as your guard to Steve Kerr as your guard, to B.J. Armstrong as your guard, to Ron Harper as your playmate. I mean, Randy Brown was even there at the end, right? So I felt that if you put some credible people around Michael Jordan, he's going to get you to play to your highest potential and your highest level, and the championship still would unfold. So I don't give Jerry Krause that much credit as far as building the championship teams, although he was instrumental in bringing these players, to the Chicago Bulls. I just feel that Michael Jordan could have won with almost anybody.
Well, I can't disagree with you more. I think there's a combination of things that has to happen. Mm-hmm. Phil Jackson is one of the things that had to happen.
Right.
Very few. I mean, we had Doug Collins, who was a former player and a very good former player in the NBA.
Oh, he was fantastic.
He couldn't get him over the hump. You bring in Phil Jackson, and his coaching philosophy was very, very different from most coaches in the NBA. And he was able to really challenge players. And he was really able to deal with them on another level that most coaches don't. Most coaches deal with you with how many points you're going to give me. Do you know your assignment? But it was totally different with Phil. And he got the best out of his players. The other part of it is that it's not just about bringing players, but when you come in like Jerry did, it's about also how do I get rid of these bad players with these bad contracts and these bad behaviors. That's part of it too. So we can't forget about that part. So I think he was a mastermind in doing all of that. And it's not easy to do, to get rid of bad contracts and bad people. It's because everybody knows. So it took him 2 to 3, 4 years to actually get the kind of roster that he wanted. And even when he did that, every year he would make one significant change that may not look really good, but during the course of that 82 game season, it would pan out for the team.
Right.
So I give him a lot of credit, man, because it's just not easy to do. Because if it was, you'd have more people doing it, and they'd be doing it more than 1 year or at all. There's still some teams in the NBA who have not won.
Right.
Okay, so you got to so people have to understand that part of it. But nobody's perfect, you know. But here's the other thing that caught me too was that Jerry Riles said that Krause came to him and said, "Hey, I want to be the general manager of the Bulls." And so Jerry Reinsdorf did his due diligence by going around the league with people he knew to ask them what did they think about Krause.
Right.
And he basically said to a man, everybody said, "Stay away from the guy. He's trouble. He's
Yeah.
no good."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he went against what everybody said and hired him. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
he's got to get some credit because he went against the word, right? The word is stay away from this guy. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to do it. I got a good feeling about this guy that he'll be able to do it. I'm going to give him a chance." And he did that. And look what the guy produced. So there was a lot of people that he rubbed the wrong way. It wasn't just Scottie Pippen, you know, like he intentionally did something to him. There were a myriad of people throughout the course of Krause's career, even in baseball,
Right.
that didn't really care for him anymore. So he's getting what he deserved, man. But he's got to get, you know, some praise for getting those 6 championships. He was the architect. And I mean, you know, when I say the architect, I mean he made the trades, he made the cuts, he hired the coach. But in doing all of that stuff, then you get to a point that you tell a coach of Phil Jackson's status, "I don't care if you go 82-0, you ain't coming back." Who the hell does that? I mean,
Right.
seriously, that's the kind of thing where you say, man, you got to piss in the cup, man. You got to
Right.
piss in the cup. You got to be on something. Who the hell does that, man? So I mean, that's one, like, I don't, the rest of the stuff, but things like that, I would love for him to be able to have to answer that kind of stuff
Yeah.
because Chicago fans were really pissed, and they still pissed because they felt Chicago Bulls probably could have won a couple more championships if he hadn't dismantled the team.
Yeah. There's no question about it. And again, that goes back to my comment and my statement that you as long as you had the main 3 cogs, the first 3 were Michael, Scotty, and Horace. The next 3, Michael, Scotty, and Dennis. As long as you put some talented players around them that were willing to work hard, I truly believe, and you know how Michael is, he would have tried to compete, you know, and overcome Bill Russell in his 11 championship. Just how determined he was, you know, and being the best of all time. You know, regarding Jerry Krause, after he dismantled, the demolition ball came in and broke everything up, Chicago hasn't been the same since. And everybody talks about the curse. Do you think there's a real curse, and that curse was put into place because Jerry Krause, and there's no excuse in my opinion, because by this time, you know, Michael is the greatest of all time, right? It's not like in the early 90s, right? It's not when he just came out of North Carolina. You're on the back end. You know this guy is the greatest. Like Michael said, why don't you ride it out? Did Jerry Krause start the curse that we're still experiencing and witnessing as Bulls fans of the city of Chicago today?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in any curse, right? Okay.
Well, we ain't
So,
won in a long time, man. That's
yeah,
a
but it's
curse.
not a curse. It's bad management, okay? And I think, you know, what happens is that I don't understand of like Chicago. I really don't. And I'm born here, raised here, want all our teams to win. But I don't really understand this thing that we crave for a winner. And then when we get a winner, how within that organization, they feel like you're not worthy anymore. And you look at all the teams. Okay, you look at what happened with the Cubs and Joe Madden,
Right.
right? You look
Stupid.
at what's my man with the Blackhawks that left? His name escapes me
Joe
right now.
Quenneville. Joe Quenneville.
Quinville.
Yeah.
What the hell? Then you
Stupid.
look at who got them to the Super Bowl in 30 something years. Lovey Smith.
Lovey Smith. Lovey Smith.
He goes 10-6 the following year, and you fire him. 10-6. There's some teams that have the Bulls up until recently been 10-6. No, I don't get this. What is that? We crave for winners. We crave for them, and then when we get them, we say like, well, we just want to go back to the cellar. How's the cellar looking now? We haven't been there in a while. Let's go.
Right. I mean, I agree with you. It makes no sense because when you look at the New England Patriots and the run that they had as far as championships are concerned, it's a no-brainer. You even look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've had three coaches: Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and our guy Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they've won each one of those guys have won Super Bowls. Maybe you can help, but I know in a management perspective, nothing lasts forever. So, like this pandemic that we're going through, I think management, and owners try to get ahead of the curve, so to speak. And Jerry Reinsdorf said that most of these guys on this 97, 98 roster were on their last leg. So you had to do something there. But I think that's the mentality of management when you look across the board. But it's unfortunately it's more prevalent here in Chicago. And I agree with you. It's like you want to dismantle something without letting these guys run the course.
But you don't have to go to the cellar, right? If you want to make changes, you can make some changes and still be competitive. Our teams are not competitive once they do that, though. That's the problem. You look at, for example, even though they haven't won another championship, you look at Boston. Danny Ainge believes in this, and he tells everybody that Red Auerbach told him this: it's better to get rid of them early than late. Okay,
right.
He brought in KG, he brought in Ray Allen to go with Paul Pierce. They made a hell of a 5-6 year run. They won a championship out of it. Then he got to the point, it's time for us to retool. Right? So he didn't trade Ray. Ray was a free agent. He went to Miami. He trades Paul and KG to Brooklyn.
Right.
So he did some retooling because he had all these damn draft picks in return. Mm-hmm. And when he was able to get the draft picks, he was able to rebuild right away. Look at them right now. They're still a force in the East. Right. We haven't done that. When I say we in Chicago, we haven't done that as the Bulls. We've been cellar dwellers for the most part. We had that little bit of a run with Thibodeau and D Rose in that group, right? We were competitive at least. You got rid of Thibodeau. I don't care what people say. People first jump to say, well, he played him too long. What the hell is this played him too long crap? And if you say he played him too long, look at the kind of minutes that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen played for the Bulls when they won championships. I dare anybody to compare the minutes. It makes no damn sense just because a kid gets hurt, who gets hurt twice. People don't get hurt for playing minutes. You're not too tired. Kids play all damn day. It's a bunch of crap. But you get rid of a guy because he wants more. You have to work that out. If you're a manager or a leader, you have to work. He wants more influence and more power, right? That's what it was all about with Thibodeau, right? You got to work this crap out. Maybe you give him more money, but you want to keep him as a damn coach. He's taking guys you get at the end of the draft, end of the first round, in the second round, and he develops these guys where they're a significant part of your damn team that's making the playoffs. I mean, duh. What the hell is wrong with you? I just don't understand it.
Well, the problem is, Dr. Lloyd Walton with the Association of Weekly Podcasts, the Rewind Sports 60. Here's the problem, though, Doc. Here's the problem.
All right. What's the problem?
Unfortunately, Tom Thibodeau wanted his boss's job. He wanted his boss's job.
Stop it, man. Stop it.
Wait a minute. Hang on now.
He wanted more influence. He wanted more influence and more power. I don't know what that looks like, but he didn't want his job, okay?
He wanted to become the general manager of the Bulls as well as the coach.
What he wanted was this. He didn't want you to always pick the damn players and I have nothing to say. It's kind of like what's the big guy from football? Parcells said, "Hey
Bill
man,
Parcells.
Yeah, you gonna go buy the groceries? You know, at least let me do the cooking." He wouldn't. They were bringing guys. They were bringing guys to work them out. This is facts. They were bringing guys to work them out.
Right.
Do you know they wouldn't allow Thibodeau to even work the guys out? Now, what sense does that make? You tell me.
Sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, that's the kind of influence and power he wanted. These are my guys. If you're going to draft them, let me work them out. Let me spend some damn time with them. You want to make all decisions about the players that you're bringing in. Can I at least have some involvement? This is ridiculous. And again, I say you work it out because that's just a rumor that he wanted the guy's job enough. He wanted more influence and more impact with the guys he brought in the roster. There's nothing wrong with that. Work it out. The guy wasn't trying to leave. Jeez Christ, man. You might as well just got you.
A lot of people watching this podcast probably ask you, they want to ask you, then how come he didn't succeed in Minnesota when he had the power?
He didn't. I don't know. But he succeeded here. Don't ask about what he didn't do there. He succeeded here. Okay? All right? Let's not just jump over now what he did. Hey, he did it here, okay?
Well,
And that was the most important thing.
the reason being is because he got what he wanted, coach, and calling the shots. And so when he finally got what he wanted,
yeah, but these are two different scenarios, man. Don't conflate the two. Different owners, different situations. Bottom line, he didn't do it there, but he did it here, and he wanted to continue to do it here, and they wouldn't allow him to do it here. Okay, that's the bottom line. Because you had two knuckleheads, okay, Mo and Larry. Okay, all they needed was Curly, to be able to come up and get rid of Thibodeau and bring in different coaches and see what this got them.
Well, they got Curly now. They got Jim Boylan is Curly. If you look at him, he's Curly. He's Curly. So they got rid of Larry and they got rid of Larry and Mo, right? They got rid of Larry and Mo. Now it's going to see what's going to happen with Curly and Jim Boylan. So we
He's out. He's out, man.
He's gone.
He's out. Yeah. Well, I mean, it hasn't been official yet, but he's out. You can't. I mean, most smart leaders are not going to come in with a role that's that significant that he holds and keep a guy. You want your guy, but first of all, what you want to do is what they're doing now. They're vetting these guys to be the general manager. Mm-hmm. As I said earlier, 2 weeks ago, I'm betting on Michael Finley. He should get the job. He's been interviewed, so now we'll see who else. But I think Michael Finley would be an excellent choice to be the GM. He's been assistant GM for the last 6 years with the Dallas Mavericks. Mm-hmm. I don't see why it wouldn't be a good spot for him. So we'll see. But yeah, I can't see Jim Boylan being around. As soon as that general manager comes in, man, look, he gonna be gone so quick it'd be like he was never there. Trust me.
No, I believe. Yeah.
Look, Jerry. Yep. When they have the press, somebody was calling me. When they have the press conference to introduce the new GM,
right?
He's gonna talk about what his vision is and all that kind of. You know how they do at the presser. He's gonna do all that stuff, and his next voice will be heard saying, "You're out. You're out. Get your stuff. Security. Come get this dude. Come get this dude."
Hey. Boylan gonna have his box, man. Hey, he gonna have his brown box, man. He gonna have all his office supplies in here in his brown box.
but look, check this out. He's been stealing money for the last 2 years. They might have to check his box, make sure he ain't stealing nothing else.
Oh, no
No paper clips, no legal pads and pens.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. And I don't, sometimes people go, "Oh, I feel sorry for this player. Or I feel sorry for this." I'm like, no, for a split second you might feel sorry for him, but then you go, man, look at all them zeros he got behind on his checks, and he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. The Bulls gave him an opportunity. Unfortunately, he couldn't live up to the expectations. And arguably, some folks, he could go down in history as the worst Bulls head coach. It'll be between him and Tim Floyd. And speaking of Tim Floyd,
my God,
no, is that wrong?
No, go ahead. No, I'm not. Go ahead.
Do you think that's accurate?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Yeah, it's pretty damn accurate.
Dude, there were some games. I don't know. When you were going to United Center this past season, there were crowds of 11,000 folks at the United Center watching a Bulls game, and then Michael Reinsdorf certainly did not like that. He was adamant about that. After games to see the low turnout for Chicago Bulls game, it's just unacceptable. The
low turnout. But the low turnout is because you don't win, right? And that's the number one thing. The second thing, the reason why you get low turnout, because your players don't put out the kind of effort that Chicago fans can appreciate. Because Chicago fans, to me, are a little bit different. They have supported some teams that weren't that good, but those teams played their ass off. They played hard as they possibly could. Now, this year, I experienced it because you and I were at one of the games together. But I experienced watching and listening to a crowd of Chicago fans cheer louder for a visiting team than they did for a home team. Now, that's the most embarrassing and most telling thing that happened this year that I can, for as long as I can remember. Right. I mean, seriously. Right. I think when Detroit came in and when the Lakers came in, and it might have been another team, but the first time D Rose came back this year, I thought he was in a Bulls jersey.
Yeah.
They were screaming so loud.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when the Lakers came in because of AD and LeBron, they
Right.
were just, man, they were ballistic. They were so damn loud. It was crazy. I'm looking around like, where are we? Are we in LA
Right.
at the Staples
Correct.
Center? It
Right.
was that bad.
Yeah.
So, getting players to come out and give their all is what most fans want. They will take a loss. They'll take their lumps. But if you come out and give an effort, at least Chicago fans, in my experience, if you come out and give that effort that is worth this 40, 50 bucks, whatever the ticket is, 100 bucks, they're
Yeah.
like, okay. We're getting somewhere. We're getting there slowly. Our culture is that we'll work hard. Hard lunch pail carrying kind of fans.
Right.
But not this year. We
Yeah.
were some kind of Maserati Gucci belt wearing kind of players.
Carmelo Anthony, when he came in with Portland, also the Bulls fans went crazy. They were chanting for his name as well to come in the game. So you're absolutely right. But back to Tim Floyd and The Last Dance. I'm sure you've seen the comments. Well, Steve Kerr said he disagreed with Michael regarding Scotty and the surgery. Doing the missing the season, and Tim Floyd came out and said he tried to convince Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf not to break up the team. Now, I don't know if he was referring to, hey, I want to coach this team, see what I can do, or was he going to take a back seat and let them continue to roll until the wheels fell off? So I don't know, but he said he came out and said, hey, I tried to talk and convince both of them. Don't bust this thing up. You still got something good going here. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is that he was speaking to the team as well as the coach. Don't break this up right now. It's too damn good, right? To break it up. Plus, I don't want to walk into this damn buzzsaw, right? And he wouldn't have been able to do it. Something would have happened. Mike wouldn't have been there. Scotty wouldn't have been there, or what have you. Right. But what's interesting is that when he made the statements, I want to get the year right and what have you, 95, 96 is when Jerry Reinsdorf supposedly, allegedly, had the conversation and tried to bring him in then? Are you kidding me? So you were just as bad as Jerry Krause if you were trying to bring him in during that period of time? What was that about? Seriously. He said they had a walk. He was in Seattle. The Bulls were playing Seattle in the playoffs, and they were walking down the street, and before he told him, hey, man, don't break it up, but you were trying to break it up. He's talking to the owner, not Jerry Krause, the owner. Right. So you were part of this too. And the guy had to say, don't do it, else you probably would have done it.
Right.
So there's something about you that hasn't come out yet either. I'm speaking of Jerry Reinsdorf. Or why would you think about breaking up this damn team that's so good with the unknown guy out of college?
Well, I mean, the one thing about Jerry, and he's been hammered for this, is the fact that he will go down as probably the best owner in Chicago. Obviously winning championships with the Bulls and, of course, the White Sox, but to a fault. And I don't expect this from Michael Reinsdorf when he completely takes over everything, but to a fault, Jerry is just too loyal. And we see it with John Paxson and Garfunkel. He's just too loyal.
But Jerry, but that's not loyalty when you're trying to get with a guy who won you 3 championships already. Are you kidding me? And you're trying to push him out the door?
But the loyalty is with Jerry Krause. And if Jerry Krause had a negative experience with this core of players, and of course he came out and made the statement, organizations win championships, not players. Jerry Reinsdorf is like, okay, I put you in charge to make decisions. If this is what you think is best for this organization, I'm on board. And that's to a fault to Jerry Reinsdorf, because he doesn't interfere when he put people in position until he's getting so much pressure, in particular from the public and from the press, before he makes a move. We've seen it with the Chicago White Sox and his love affair for Kenny Williams. He was almost forced by the press and the media and the fans to put Rick Hahn in there to get a different perspective. So that's if Jerry Reinsdorf is talking to Tim Floyd walking down the street and trying to make some moves, it's because Jerry Krause had his ear and say, hey, I can build another winner. Just let me do it. And Reinsdorf was like, okay, let's see. That's just who he is, man, as a business person.
I buy into, I'm trying to think of the guy's name that started Apple. What was his name? He passed away with cancer.
Uh,
Come on, man. What the hell is
Jobs.
his name? Yeah,
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Steve
You know,
Jobs.
Steve
Right.
Jobs said once said that we always hire the best people we possibly can, and we let them do their job. We do not
Right.
bring them in to tell them how to do their job.
Right.
And so I buy into that philosophy 100%.
Right.
And I think that's the way it should be.
Hmm.
But having said that, um, and particularly the chance that Jerry Reinsdorf took with Jerry Krause, I would think you would have some doubts from time to time about assembling a great team with a coach and even thinking about breaking that up. I just don't see why that would even come into mind. I'm not saying somebody wouldn't say it, but I'm saying, like, how would you even entertain that? I mean, Chicago had never won championships before. They
Right.
had never had somebody as exciting as Michael Jordan to play.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The old stadium was rocking, and you're on your way to building a new place, the United Center. Are you
Right.
kidding me?
Right.
I mean, when you change the culture and you start reaping and benefiting what you sow the way you would like to, the way you envision, because everybody has the same vision, winning a championship, right?
Right.
And
Right.
doing well. When you have start doing that, what's in your mind? What are you thinking when you start to question what you've already done that's successful?
Right.
That makes no sense, no damn sense to me. So hopefully I find out more. I mean, just for me, because obviously there's a reason behind it. Jerry Reinsdorf is still living. I don't know if anybody has even been able to get a sit down with him to even question him about that particular, because you were winning and you won the championship. So why would you want to agree with Jerry Krause to dissemble your coach, your head coach that you brought in, who Jerry Krause, in fact, was the one who brought him in, and you not let him finish his job? How could you
Well,
do that?
well, part of that, I think, Doc, is that, first of all, Jerry Krause, he sees that Magic Johnson leaves the game, one of the all-time greats. He sees Larry Bird leaves the game, one of the all-time greats. He sees Isaiah Thomas on the brink of, moving forward. Dr. J. He's seeing these great players, more or less on their last leg. You remember when Larry Bird was playing? It was pitiful, right? Because his back problems. So he didn't want to get to the point where, and I'm not defending the guy by any means, but I can see from a management's perspective, he's like, I don't want it to get down to the point where it's almost embarrassing to roll these guys out there. So, and to grind out, championships the way the Bulls were able to do it. That was a tremendous grind, and it was, the wear and tear on the body that eventually was going to catch up. Steve Kerr even admitted that, it was tiresome to continue to win championship.
But this is nothing new. There's nobody who's won a championship in any sport that doesn't say it's a grind. That's what it's part. That's why it's so damn invigorating when you win,
Right.
because
Right.
it's a damn grind. You go through that constantly every single day, going to the gym, and when you're playing against a team, that's their Super Bowl, that's their NBA championship, that's their World Series. When you've won, this is nothing new. Of course, it's a damn grind. This is what it's all about.
But they
Winning,
felt
though.
that those guys were at the
No,
end of their.
stop. I don't care if they felt it was in. That's not the way you do a team, okay? And how you do it is piece by piece, okay? That's my philosophy. I don't own a team, but I have a philosophy of how you do it. And I'm not going to send, and furthermore, when you have a star like Michael Jordan, he's not going to go out there unless he can perform. You
Right.
think he's an idiot? You think he wants people to say, well, look, he ain't got a step. He lost this. He can't jump as high. He will always evolve to be able to play the game the way he wants. But you find another player that you could bring in who is very, very promising. You allow Michael to take him up under his wing, and be able to teach him. And you bring pieces in again so you can keep going and he can go out, with his head held high. You don't dissemble a team like that. Doesn't make any sense, man. But my friend Sam Lacey, who I played with the Kings, used to always say, well, I tell you what, Lucky Lloyd, when you get your team, you can do it the way you want to.
Right. Well, Jerry Stackhouse said he kind of resented playing with Michael with the Wizards because he couldn't really play to his expectations or potential because everything was drawn up around Michael.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think anybody who bought a ticket say, I'm coming to see Jerry Stackhouse tonight?
I was. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
And let me just say this. His resentment was probably valid. Okay. I'm not going to take anything because Jerry was a very good player. I think he made the all-star team a couple times.
Right.
But nobody buying tickets to come see you, Jerry. It was
Mm-hmm.
a very unfortunate situation that you got in because they had Rip Hamilton, they traded Rip, and they got Stackhouse in his
Right.
place, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then you had to play behind Michael in his swan song, if you will. But on a side note, here's a guy you playing the swan song. He played 82 games in his last year at the NBA
Right.
with the Wizards.
Right.
And
Right.
you got these guys now who can't play 2 games back to back. This makes no sense. They
Yeah.
can't play back to back. It's load management. Oh, he's hurt so bad. His knee hurts. It's not really even hurt. He just want to rest it. Man, give me a break. But anyway, I understand, Jerry. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You're in that situation. Michael is basically the general manager of the team, part owner.
Right.
Well, you think I'm gonna sit myself on the bench? It's gonna be between me and you. Oh, buddy, I think you're gonna get less minutes tonight.
Right. That's exactly it. Hey man, this is the Fast Podcast, a weekly podcast, the association with the good Dr. Lucky Lloyd Walton. Hey man, before we go, what do you expect in the second week of the docu-series, The Chicago Bulls?
Well, I'm excited about the teaser, man. Rodman, when Scotty came back and Rodman went to field and said, "Hey, I need a vacation." I mean, just that line, period. Can you believe in the middle of the damn season, a player would even
Right.
think about, not
Right.
actually go and actually present it to a coach, but think about telling a coach, "I need a vacation." And then wait a minute. The best part is that the coach calls in the star player of the whole NBA and says he's got something to tell you. And once he hears it, it's like, you got to be kidding. He
Right.
wants a vacation. Vacation for what?
Right.
Hey, man, I think this is going to be really, really good. I'm excited about these next two. I really am, man.
I know.
Because like I said, it's going to be good.
Yeah, yeah. I think Chicago and the world, man. I haven't seen the ratings on this thing yet, but I think the world is anticipating, and it's been getting a lot of attention, a lot of focus, and I think there's much more to come. And like you said, we were around it, we experienced it, we know a lot of stories that took place off the court, behind the scenes. But I believe we gonna be shocked on some stuff that's unveiled, man. And
I want to be shocked.
what's crazy to me, Doc, is that we only going to see 20 hours of the. What about the footage that didn't even make it?
Yeah.
That's
But
what's crazy to me.
Well, I think that the 20 hours, and I think if they did it right, it's going to just build and build and build. And I think it's going to be so damn compelling. These ratings are going to go through the roof by the end, by that last weekend. I really believe that. Because just even the teasers, without them actually being named teasers, when you tell a coach, like I said earlier, I don't care if you go 82-0, you still not going to be coming back. Come on, man. And I want to say this, not on that level, but let me just say this. When I left Marquette my senior year, the next following year, Al McGuire at the beginning of the season says to the team and announces to college basketball, "This is my last year, right? No matter what, this is my last year." And he went out, and that team was able to pull it together, and they won a championship. Okay, he hadn't won a championship before, even though during my sophomore year we played for the championship. Right. It was one of those kind of things, right? I'm leaving no matter what, right? I just can't. I mean, Phil wasn't ready to go. Michael wasn't ready for him to go.
No, it just boggles. It does. It boggles your mind, man. It really does. But thank goodness it's happened, because we get a chance to see The Last Dance, and we get a chance to see this documentary, docu-series, man, and get an opportunity to reminisce and relive some old moments. But it also touches another generation of kids who heard of Michael Jordan. They may wear his shoes and everything, but now they really get the chance and opportunity to see what this guy was really all about and why he is the greatest of all time. Real quick, yeah, he's the greatest of all time, man. There's no question about it. He's the greatest. You know what?
That was a huge benefit. This is a huge benefit because there are kids in the league, obviously, who never saw him play.
Yep. Kids
around the world who never got a chance to sit there, but they heard about him. And I think that the kind of performance he put on, like in the playoffs against Boston and some others, whew, man, that brought back some memories. I was like, "You giving it to him, boy? You giving it to him,
dude?"
Man,
think about, and that's why I say he's the greatest. Because and I know you're gonna go off on me, but Michael was what? What was he? 23 or something back when that series
When
with
that happened,
Boston. Yeah,
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 about
yeah.
22, 23, yeah.
And just look at the Celtic team, and they ran through it. Bird, Parrish, McHale, Walton, Ainge, DJ,
DJ,
right?
four Hall of Famers.
Bingo. And Michael nearly single-handedly beat him by himself. Now, you about to beat me up. You about to beat me up. But if you take Kobe or LeBron and with the team that Michael had, come on, man, that team was, come on. With the team that Michael had, I don't think that Kobe or LeBron could have put on a performance like that in the early part of their career against a dominant team like the Boston Celtics were. I don't think they could have done that.
You're wrong.
And I know you don't like. I know you don't like to do it.
No. You're just wrong. When that was first thing come to mind is when LeBron was with Cleveland, they went against the Detroit Pistons, who were in the finals 4 years straight. And I would just say to anybody, go back and look at that series and what he did. There's one game he had 25 straight points in the fourth quarter. And my man is the GOAT. And second to that is LeBron, okay? But
right.
I don't like to do that kind of comparison because guys can have a great night, right? It does not define their career because they have a whole career. Right. But he had an unbelievable night. And I remember Chauncey saying he had never seen somebody score points the way this kid scored. And the crazy thing about LeBron, though, and because I just have to say, because always people say he couldn't score, he can't do this. Why is he third in the history in scoring? If you can't score, you can't score, damn it. You can't be third in the history of scoring if you can't score. People say the craziest damn thing. And I'm not trying to elevate him above Michael by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm just saying, these are the kind of things that you hear. Oh, he can't score. He don't have a... Dude, he scored enough points to be number 3 in the history of the NBA.
Well, that's a whole different story, man. That's a whole different story.
No, it's not a different story because here's the thing. No, I'm not complaining. That was just a side note. What I was telling you about the 25 he scored straight in the fourth quarter, period. I think he wound up with 48, 49, maybe 50. I don't know. But I'm just saying these kind of performances are rare from great players, but they still get them done. So, yeah, I don't want to make that comparison between Michael, what he did then, and what LeBron did and what Kobe did. That's unfair, man, because I don't have that kind of fantasy mind. You know, I know a lot of people that say, oh, man, well, if you did this, if you had that, a lot of ifs.
Right.
Ifs. Yeah. So
ifs and buts for candy and nuts. Right.
Well, yeah.
Hey, brother, before we go, how's the book coming along, First and 40?
Man, it's coming along good. I'm just kind of stagnant because I want to be stagnant. Okay. I'll have something probably to tell you on our next podcast next week.
My man, Thursday. You got it. Okay. You got it in your man cave. You got it up. Can you show it to us or no?
Oh gosh, you know I do.
Yeah. There you go.
Bam.
There you go.
I changed the cover. I changed the cover a little bit. Okay, so I added right here, retired NBA player, and right below here I added.
Raise it up a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I added a retired NBA player right below that, and then I added right below here forward by Michael Wilbon because he wrote the forward, but I didn't have his name on the cover. So I've changed that. But this time next week, I'm pretty sure I have some really good update information for you.
My man, everybody's looking forward to it. There's no question about it. Dr. Lloyd Walton, you're the best, brother. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Look, take care of your health, not just the coronavirus stuff, but take care of your health, man. Okay. We need you, bro. Okay, your family needs you. Take care of yourself, bro. Okay. Stop eating all that damn pork and all that salt.
Hey, I gotta blame. Hey, I gotta blame it on my girls and my wife because they trying to get me to go vegan, man. We had the vegan chili and them beans got to me, boss. So now I gotta have beanless chili, man. But I'm doing my part. God. Yeah.
Man, keep doing your part, man. We need you healthy, bro.
God bless you, brother. You too. Thank you very much. Keep up. And we'll talk to you, brother. Be good.
Yes, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.